Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now. On today's episode of the One Gang Worldwide podcast, we're honored to have Mike Bobbitt from the Motorcycle Relief Project with us. This organization is dedicated to helping veterans and first responders find relief from stress and trauma through the power of motorcycle therapy. In today's episode, Mike will share how the Motorcycle Relief Project started, the impact of their rides on participants, and the therapeutic benefits of motorcycle riding. So let's ride along the path of recovery and restoration with Mike Bobbitt, right here on the One Gang podcast.
The ride is helping yourself through helping others. And, there's so much science and data behind how volunteering and get involved in something you're passionate about has mental and physical benefits to you.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to One Gang Worldwide podcast. We got an awesome guest for us here, man. This is Mike Bobbitt. He's the president of the Motorcycle Relief Project. In addition to, has served 30 years in the Air Force, retired since 15. First and foremost, my brother, thank you for your service and your bravery.
Sure.
Two is thank you for joining our show.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I look forward to chatting with you all.
Right on. All right, so give us the early days rundown. How'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up? And how did you get into motorcycles and ultimately wind up as the president for the Motorcycle Relief Project?
So I grew up in Bellingham, Washington, which is all the way in the northwest corner, almost to Canada there. So I actually had a friend that rode, and so I started riding in high school as soon as I could get my endorsement.
Nice.
I think my junior year, I rode to high school on a Honda Trail 90,
Nice.
and then someone
Trail
stole
90.
that in my backyard, and
Oh.
so I upgraded to a Yamaha 400 LTD, and so yeah, I rode that as a senior to high school and joined the Air Force out of there.
Nice.
And then
Cool.
my first assignment was in Germany, and I was too young and dumb to take advantage of riding there, so I didn't ride my first 2 years. But coming back from the States or from Germany, my next assignment was in Missouri. So I had saved up and came home and bought a Yamaha 850 Midnight Special with a fairing and all, and rode from Bellingham, Washington down to Missouri, where my first assignment was at. I have had a bike ever since then. So
Was that your first long trip?
yeah. So, and that was when I kind of got hooked on long distance stuff and have been a long distance guy ever since. So yeah, I have owned many bikes over the years, and currently have 5 in the garage.
Yeah,
so
we'll get into those a little bit later in the show. Hey, how was mom and dad in high school and you putting around on a bike? Were they pretty cool with you? Or did they?
yeah, I didn't get any grief. Yeah, I hear a lot of people, their parents told them they couldn't ride or whatever, but no, they were supportive. So yeah, no issues. And, then I had to worry about getting transportation. So it worked out well.
That's cool, man. So how did you run into, how did you get the gig? You retired in 2015 from the Air Force. How did you fall into the Motorcycle Relief Project? How did you be?
So I retired in November 2015 out of Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado. Was looking for something to keep me busy, and a friend of mine told me about this new program he found out about. So I contacted Tom Larson, who was the founder of the program, in early 2016, and I got the same answer that I give folks now, that to volunteer, and because I was just looking to volunteer and help out, but got the answer that I still give folks today, that to be a volunteer and get involved with the program, you got to take the ride first. So all our volunteers are alumni of the program. They've been to the program, understand what it's all about, and kind of helps them get involved in bringing the next batch of folks through the ride. So I went on ride 5 back in June of 2016 and have been with the program ever since.
What did the ride involve? What was that ride all about? Your first ride with these guys?
Yep. So basically it's the brochure pitch is, we take veterans and first responders on 5-day adventure motorcycle relief rides. So they fly in on Sunday. We do a little dinner Sunday night, do a little, got to do some paperwork and sign waivers and whatnot Monday morning. And then we ride all week. So spend a week riding. We stay in a lodge every night and do workshops in the evening. And, not to give away the trade secrets, but a lot of folks will say, they just came to ride motorcycles, but what they got the most out of was the workshops in the evening and just the opportunity to get some shit off their chest. So, we ride during the day, Monday through Friday, have a little end of ride celebration, Friday night, and then everyone flies home, on that last day. So, it's a nice week long, break from, everyday life to help folks get unstuck and, hopefully send them home in a better place than they came.
So would you call it the core mission of MRP?
Yep. It's, provide relief and, give you some tools to help you get unstuck and go home and, re-engage and do all that.
After your first ride, when you did it before you came on, obviously as a president of the company, but what was your perception in regards to the guys you rode with? I mean, obviously you guys have a common bond. That's there's a brotherhood because everybody has been in the same scenario. But did you feel like when you did that first ride, you felt this is something that can definitely work? Did you bring more to it? Kind of take us a little bit into.
So ride 5, was the first ride. So we've currently done 63 rides and have 435 folks that have been through the program over the course of 9 years that it's been around. You can see it. Seeing it as a participant absolutely helps you understand what it's like for folks showing up as you continue to be involved. I've been on 47 of the 63 rides we've done now. So coming up on a whole year of riding with the program. We call it, the magic MRP, whatever. There's something about, bringing a bunch of folks who have had, not the same experiences, but similar experiences, see life through the filter of the trauma they've dealt with. And one of the things that we have seen time and time again is, these guys and gals, we do one women's ride a year. They get out and go to communities that have no military presence. They don't have anybody that speaks their language or understands why they act and react the way they do. So, they start to believe they're crazy and that, they're that disgruntled veteran that, is never going to have a normal life. And so they just start to isolate. We've had folks that don't leave their house for months and, they just sit in the basement in the dark and, stare at the wall. And so this is, the first time for many of them, in a decade or so after they got out that, they finally realize that they're just doing the best they can to deal with the shit they carry around. And they're not crazy. They're just, dealing with life, and the experiences that took them to where they're at. So that alone is just such a freeing, experience because, when everybody tells you you're crazy, you start to believe it. And, finally you hear other people saying, they react the same way to things that you do and have the same experiences. And all of a sudden, you start to realize that, you're just doing the best you can. And having that reset is a huge, step to going home and re-engaging. We've had folks, call me a couple weeks after the ride and their wife wanted to know what kind of voodoo spell we put on them because they're the guy they were 10 years ago.
That's
they're
amazing.
not just locking themselves in the basement and drinking their life away. They're actually, playing with their kids and talking to them instead of yelling at them and pushing them away. They're, we've had folks share things on the ride that, they haven't shared with their wife in 20 years and getting it off their chest and, lightning doesn't strike them and people don't laugh and point or hate them or ostracize them. And it makes them realize that, it's like a pressure cooker. You build up that pressure over the course of 10 years and, you feel like if you pop that cork, it's going to be a significant emotional event and you don't want to deal with it. So having a safe space amongst people that can understand it, you pop the cork, lead the pressure off, and now you can go home with a fresh start and be able to actually have a conversation with your significant other and explain, hey, I'm sorry for being the asshole I've been for all this time, but I was just doing the best I can. I realize now that it's okay to talk about this stuff and share it with you because, if I can't share it with you, who can I share it with? And so, it's healed relationships and taking folks back to the way it used to be. And it is just an amazing experience. And, it happens on every ride time and time again. So the effects and impacts are repeatable, and there's folks that'll tell you that they wouldn't be around if it hadn't been for the experience they had with this program. So that's why we do what we do.
How awesome.
I'm curious, going into specifics with the feedback that you get from the guys on the ride. What specifics what specific aspects of the ride do you think benefit riders and these vets the most? There's a common sense aspect of freedom and the wind in your face. The feedback from the actual vets, what are they telling you that has really been transformative for them in the experience?
Yeah, I think I think it does go back to what I just said, that it's the realization that you're normal. You're just like everybody else who's dealt with the shit you've dealt with. And one of the things we do make important is, people come about trauma in many aspects. Tom, the founder of the program, wasn't a veteran or first responder. He had some issues in normal life that resulted in him dealing with a lot of same things that veterans and first responders do. So he understood the therapeutic value of riding and being in the wind. And so that's why he started the program. And, there was some mental health professionals on the board when he started it, told him it wouldn't work because, it takes 6 months for a mental health professional to get somebody open up, start sharing stuff. And, they went on a ride too, I think, and just saw that, on that ride and on many rides, you get, so there's 8 participants and 4 volunteers and staff. So it's a very small group, but it's nothing to go around the room. And, one of the things we do in the introduction is have folks just say what they need relief from or what they're dealing with. And once the first person opens up and shares what they're going through, it's nothing to have, 12 grown dudes who just met each other, tears in their eyes, spilling their guts about shit they never told anyone. And so it really is just that, realization that, people speak your language and see life through the filter you do. And you're not crazy, and you're not, the evil bad guy who did a bunch of stuff that, you're going to hell for. It's you did the best you could deal with the circumstances you were placed under. And that I think is just the biggest impact of the program, is getting folks together in a space where they can understand that they're doing the best they can, and really there's nothing wrong with them. They're just, dealing with the trauma they've experienced.
So without revealing trade secrets, it sounds like it's a combination of that introduction meeting period where everybody gets to know each other, and then the actual therapeutic aspects of the ride itself. Do you find yourselves doing, roadside chats a good bit, or is essentially that introduction and then just the ride? That's kind of what I'm curious about. What aspects? Is it just a combination of those two?
I think it's a combination, but also, lots of factors, feel like you're part of a team, when you were back in the unit and had the guys around you. So, that bond of motorcycling brings people together, have something in common. So, you instantly connect and understand each other from that perspective. Then add on, the military or first responder experience. And now you're with guys that act like you, talk like you, joke like you, have warped sense of humors like you. And so that first day when the guys are just getting to know each other, it really is like, being the new guy in a unit where you jump in and just immediately bond. And then, you do the riding, any challenging experience tends to bond those who share it. So, we do adventure riding. So we've got a lot of guys that are straight up Harley dudes, never been off pavement. So this is our first time, actually riding in gravel, and, we're not doing it on dirt bikes. We're doing it on 600, 700 pound adventure bikes. We bring a coach on every ride to do some training and do some phone drills and whatnot, just to get folks comfortable with, letting the bike dance around you on the gravel. So yeah, you have a little bit of challenging experience during the day. Then we come home. We do lunch on the road somewhere. You talk about roadside chat. So we pack sandwiches in a cooler and do lunch on the road somewhere, sitting in a park or under a tree, out in the middle of nowhere. But then all our dinners, so we cook breakfast and dinner at the lodge, and, do it family style. So we're all sitting at the table.
That's awesome.
Going around the room, talking about our day, sharing the day. So, that helps bring folks together. And then the evening we do a workshop every night. So,
Nice.
we've tweaked the workshops we do over the course of the, 63 times we've done it. We do a survey at the end of every ride, for folks to give us feedback on what was helpful and what wasn't. So we've honed in on the stuff that folks got the most out of. So, the workshops we do in the evening are the tools that, folks can take home and, employ when they get home to start getting unstuck and, re-engaging. So so the combination of all those things, by Friday night, nobody wants to leave. They're all, everybody's, we've got a lot of folks that, we have had 6 international folks on our last ride of last year. We had an Australian first responder,
Cool.
Who connected with the roommate he stayed in with the lodge, and he's actually flying back to the States, this summer, and they're going to go ride together. And,
Wow.
so it's, really gives them another network of folks who, they share the experience with, to be there for them. We have a pretty active, Facebook group of all the alumni, and, if individual cohorts on the rides don't stay, connected, they have a broader, the 400 folks that have done the ride. And, we have a lot of folks that hook up with folks in their area and ride with them, or if they're just having a shitty day and need somewhere to throw out hey man, I could use someone to chat with, and, they'll have 10 people chime in, with an opportunity to chat. And, it's a place that, folks have shared that experience and been through what you've been through to talk to. So it really is about building a network of, folks you can reach out to after the experience as well.
Incredible.
And I know you're not I know you're not the type to toot your own horn, but you got to think with how rampant the real issue is and the 20-day problem we have in this country. I wonder how many times, how many instances, can't help but wonder how many times you've actually been able to save a life. I really,
We have a bunch of testimonials on our Facebook page and YouTube and all that. And we've done some follow-ups years later, and folks have said they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the tools we provided them in that experience to reset, get unstuck, and move forward. It's, that's why we do what we do, and why we have a dedicated bunch of sponsors that help us out and keep us, there's 200 people on the waiting list, and, we only take 8 folks on every ride. So doesn't take much math skills to realize that, a lot of folks aren't going to get the experience. But, the application process, I review every application and, make some notes, and obviously prioritize those who are in the greatest need. One thing we do get a lot is folks saying, oh, somebody needs it more than me, or, my shit wasn't that bad or whatever. But my response to that is, if you've been through trauma and dealt with shit, apply, and we'll see if we can get you on a ride. Because, if I had 8 folks who really need it on a ride, it probably wouldn't be a fun experience for anyone.
Good point.
So I need people that not only can balance that out, but show folks there is hope. And, if you've dealt with a bunch of shit and found a way to deal with it and be successful, they need to see that. And see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. That ain't a train about to mow you over. And so sharing a week with somebody who can tell you that they were in a bad place and now they see life through a different lens. And again, that's why the volunteers are all alumni of the program, because there are folks who I saw their lives impacted through the program, and it changed their lives. So I bring them back to set the tone for, what's possible if you really take to heart what we have to offer.
Yeah. Mike, let me ask you a question. As president, what's the biggest challenges you're facing leading the MRP?
So, as any small nonprofit will tell you, it's paying the bills. We're a very small organization, but we have 16 motorcycles to maintain. So, and insuring 16 motorcycles ain't cheap. Maintaining them, doing all the maintenance, paying the facilities, that we're broke at the end of every year. So, we have just enough every year to execute the 10 to 12 rides we do a year, which, puts, 80-ish folks through the program, depending on how many are in every ride. But, it's always a challenge to look at that last ride and be like, oh, sorry guys, we ain't stopping for ice cream, today, because can't buy ice cream. So it's the struggle of any small nonprofit. And, frankly, trying to convince people that, their money's going to a good cause, paying people to go out and ride motorcycles. I mean, it's sometimes a hard sell because, they look at it as a recreational opportunity. There's a lot of great nonprofits out there doing amazing things for veterans and first responders. But, if they take you out fly fishing for the day and take you home, other than having fun catching a fish, what real long-term benefit is that? And that's why we believe we're doing something special, is because, it's a week long. So the only thing the participants pay for is either get to Denver in the summer or Arizona in the winter. We trailer all the bikes down to Arizona.
Nice.
We'll be leaving on the 1st of March to go do our first 2 rides of the year in Tucson. But yeah, so they get to the ride location, get home. And other than that, we put them up in the lodge for the week. We, feed them, put them on bikes, and it doesn't cost them anything. But, as I said before, the real bang for the buck's the workshops we do, and the opportunity to give them some tools to really get them unstuck is where we have the most impact. And so it isn't just riding motorcycles and having fun. It's actually a therapeutic experience that helps them out long term.
So what do you do in regards to you got the trips and you got all that stuff scheduled throughout the year, but how do you go about as far as trying to raise funds outside of, I know people spread the word, social media, obviously, but do you guys have any kind of like benefits that happen through the year where you have people come in to raise money? Like, take us a little bit into the fundraising that you're a part of, that you take charge in.
Yep. So every December, first Saturday in December, we have an event in Denver. Many of our alumni fly in and attend the event, and some of our big donors, and we have the standard silent auctions and giving stuff away, whatnot, to draw people in. We usually pick 2 or 3 alumni from that year who had the most significant impact and life-changing experiences on the ride to tell their story. And so that raises about 1/3 of our annual budget a year. And then the rest is all individual donations. We've got folks that give us $1,000 a week and folks that give us $25 a week. And, so, the rest of our budget's just fulfilled by, grinding out individual donations. We recently got somebody to start writing some grants for us. So we're, trying to maybe find some more funding through there. So we currently have a grant with the Arizona Department of Veterans Services. One of our spring rides, I put all Arizona veterans on it. We're trying to get the Arizona Department of Veterans Services to pay for that ride specifically to benefit Arizona veterans. And we're trying to do the same thing in Colorado in the summer. So, we're trying to start getting some grants and maybe finding alternate sources of funding.
Gotcha. Mike, have you seen a change between the leadership and once the leadership in the country changed? Have you seen a change, and has it affected you guys in any way?
No, I think, obviously we struggled through COVID like everyone. We did some rides during COVID before the full lockdown stuff. We had to cancel some stuff, but overall, the need still persists, despite, whether it's good or bad economic times or whatever. Folks always, need relief and deal with stuff, but, it's our waiting list is always around 200 folks.
Wow.
And our intake from donations is pretty consistent over, the course of the 8 years we've been doing this. We raise enough money every year to pay the bills, and kind of as a fundraiser resets the clock. And so, yeah, I think it's been pretty steady, regardless of what's going on outside the program.
Have the manufacturers of the motorcycles that you guys use, do they donate them? Do they help you guys out, or does the foundation have to buy them?
So we have bikes from all over. We have several of them that were donated. We just had 2 folks, one in Reno and one in Northern California, donate 2013 and a 2014 that we're picking up in a couple weeks. So folks donate motorcycles. BMW Motorrad, BMW's motorcycle branch, has given us some breaks on pricing and financing. So they haven't given us any bikes, but we bought a couple new bikes at one time, and they gave us a break there. the BMW Motorcycle Owners of America, which is for Harley folks, the
The
hog
hog, yeah.
of BMW. They have been hugely supportive of ours
Nice.
from the beginning. They give us a free ad in their magazine every
Nice.
month. They do a standard national rally somewhere around the country. It's in Redmond, Oregon this year, so they always give us a booth there and let us talk to folks there.
Awesome.
Do some presentations. They're currently doing a raffle. You can find it on our website or on the Facebook page, but they're raffling off a classic BMW that was restored by Brooke Reams, who's here in Denver, who's one of the most known restoring classic BMWs. So he restored it. It's like in factory showroom condition, just pristine. And so they're raffling that off. It'll be drawn next month. So yeah, the BMW MOA and the foundation have been huge supporters of ours. So as far as those are aspects, and then we have a lot of industry support. So Michelin Motorcycle gives us a set of tires for
Awesome.
each bike every year. So Michelin's been a huge supporter of ours. We get 2 pallets of tires every year, so that's huge. And then say again.
So that's great. 2 pallets of tires every year. That's huge.
Yeah. That, we burn up tires pretty quick doing that. So yeah, that's a huge support. But so we've got a lot of support in the industry of folks that believe in what we're doing. Bell has donated 19 helmets twice. So we have gear that folks can use if they don't have the appropriate gear on the ride. So we've got a lot of support in the industry as well.
Awesome.
That covers industry support and the fundraising to an extent. I'm curious, as far as actual guys wanting to sign up and get on that waiting list, doesn't sound like it's a problem finding people. But these days, if you don't actually technically track it, what's your best guess for how new people are finding out about you? Is it an organic word of mouth thing or social media?
Yeah, I think probably a split between word of mouth through folks that have been through the program or know somebody that has been through the program that it impacted their life. We don't do a lot of advertising. We do the standard Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff. And occasionally make something an ad to get it out to a broader audience. And then really it's just, we go to a few rallies a year, have a booth, and try and spread the word through that. So it really is kind of a mix of all that. So yeah, we don't have a huge advertising budget.
Needed.
But like Twisted Throttle and Denali Electronics have done some promotions like on Veterans Day where they donate a portion of their sales and send it out to their entire mailing list of folks. So that helps folks find out about us as well. There's lots of ways folks find out about us. One of the struggles we've had, so we initially started out just doing veteran rides and then transitioned to having first responders a couple years into that. And getting the word out to those folks has been a little harder. And I think a lot of it has to do with the stigma they still face in admitting they have, PTSD or whatever. If you're on the job and admit you got a problem, you end up riding the desk. And so it's a lot tougher for those folks to not only seek help and admit they are dealing with some stuff, but to trust, strangers to not out them and end up having career impact. So, I think that's a lot of the reason we struggle with getting first responder applicants, but we do 2 rides a year just for first responders. And then we do 1 women's ride a year, which combines first responders and veterans. So we do try and serve that community as well.
That's awesome, man. So what's the aspirations for the future of MRP for you? I mean, what do you envision as far as its impact? What are some exciting projects, things you guys are working on for the future of this? Because obviously it works and, the proof is in the pudding as far as the guys' responses back. So what do you envision as the president for the future?
So a couple answers to that. One, I mentioned we're starting to do grant stuff. So we actually ran into Dustin Sylvie, who's a PhD who specializes in PTSD and gathering data and doing grants. So we put him on the board this year, and he's actually developed a survey that we give now to each participant at the start of the ride, at the end of the ride, and 3 months and 6 months. because as you apply for grants, they want quantifiable data. They don't want
Yeah.
just, some guy on YouTube saying, hey, it was awesome. So we've actually started trying to gather data to have an actual data accessible to as we apply for grants, where we can show, what the statistical impact of the program has had. So defining that and helping it push towards giving us some more opportunities to get some bigger grants. Because, honestly, as you talk about growing the program, I'm the president. I go on every ride. I work 250 hours a month doing all the behind the scenes stuff and all that. The president of the board, Martin Solberg, is a full-time TSA intelligence analyst. So he doesn't have the bandwidth I do to do a lot of the time stuff, but he rebuilt the board when we took over 2 years ago. And so he and I work together. So we've gotten a good board that's engaged in helping us out. But that's the question is, do we grow? Do we, franchise? How do we, try and, expand the impact we have? And that it has always been a struggle because, when you start franchising and losing control of what you're doing, does it have the same impact?
Right.
Does it become a bigger operation that now is about the operation?
Right. Is it a business or is it from helping? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, we're going to try and do 12 rides this year, which is the most rides we've done. Because, between rallies and all that, I travel 18 to 20 months weeks a year. So, I'm already on the road a lot, so I couldn't necessarily handle, expanding that. So finding somebody who can share that load with me, who's actually available to go on the rides. But, without paying folks, it's hard to have somebody have that kind of availability to put in the time. So, that's part of the challenge is finding enough folks. We're a mostly volunteer run organization. The guy that runs manages his fleet, runs the shop as a volunteer. The volunteers that come on the rides are volunteers. So we have a lot of volunteers, but most of them have jobs or work. So the bandwidth to expand the program, either to more locations or more rides, just isn't there. And that leads to the third answer to the question is what's my we get $1 million grant, what's the pie in the sky dream of how we can expand or have a more robust organization. And
what would you
does
choose?
come down to
what would you choose?
Ideally right now we have a facility that's too small for what we're doing. And we have to pay, the lodges we get through VRBO or Airbnb.
Right.
We've used the same place in Tucson the whole time. We've used the same place in Colorado. They give us a great deal, but a fair portion of the money we spend is on lodging, to host the ride. So, I would like to be able to build a rudimentary, facility where it's just a bunkhouse with, individual little rooms with racks, a common space, a kitchen, just like one of them barndominium kind of joints where it has the garage where we can do the bike stuff.
Perfect.
And host the rides internally so we could, not have to put out, a third of our budget on, lodging and all that. So, that would be
what do you think?
something that would help us.
Something like that would what kind of budget would you need? Like, what do you think something like that would cost?
Couldn't do it in Colorado because it's
Colorado,
and the riding
Colorado,
season. Yeah, so our riding season in Colorado is only June through September. And then you can ride year round, but you're rolling the dice. We've had a first week of September ride get halfway snowed out because it snowed the first couple days of the ride, but. So, finding a location where we could operate, with the longer riding season.
Come to Florida.
Yeah, no, ain't much adventure riding out that way.
It's not. You're right. Hey,
Kinda
but
short on mountains out
we
here
got all the
now.
Blue Ridge Mountains up in the Georgia, Tennessee,
Yeah.
the Carolinas. That is some great riding out there, man.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, ideally to have our own base camp where we had the property to train and host folks. But yeah, the location be the challenge, but, that is the challenge in, we only have 16 bikes. So if we tried to, have multiple locations now, the logistics of transporting bikes and maintaining them. So, unless, somebody wanted to donate a whole another fleet of bikes to stand up a second location, then, so yeah, there's just a lot of challenges with being this small and trying to, to wrangle all the moving parts to that. So we really do think 12, is probably our max number of rides a year. So as far as expansion and taking on more folks, we wouldn't want to make the rides bigger because, 12 people, going around a room talking takes a fair amount of time. And, adding, 5 people to that would add a couple hours to every workshop. And
Yeah.
so, we've found the sweet spot as far as what the number of participants is. So yeah, that I think, growing is as much as we'd like to grow and have more impact. I think, without a significant infusion of cash to bring on staff that could do that to the level we do it now, I think we're about where we're at.
Yeah, thanks for answering that, man. I was always curious about that. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so for people listeners and viewers who want to either volunteer or donate, help out in any way they can, what avenue would they take to do that? What's the easiest?
So the website's, www.motorelief.org with 1 R. Although I bought the domain to the 2 R one, so it retracts
Nice, smart.
Make that mistake.
Nice move.
So yeah, the application's there, the description of, the basic rundown of a day, the schedule, the women's program information, all that's on the website, as well as, on our social media, Facebook and Instagram, and I maybe a Tiki-Talkie account, put some dumb videos up there.
Nice.
So yeah, we're out there, and really that's, if you have any question as far as, what you think the program could do for you is, finding your way to one of the social media outlets and watching the testimonial videos. At the end of the ride, I offer whoever wants to the opportunity to just, speak for 2 or 3 minutes on what they got out of the program. And, said a lot of dudes say, I had no intention of talking, I came to ride motorcycles and, hang out. And, once I got in that environment and saw folks, that you can physically see the relief people get just by getting this shit off their chest. And they're different people at the end of the week. They're laughing and joking. You see it every night at dinner. Everybody's kind of reserved and, doing the eating and defending their turf, got their elbows out, keeping their space. And by the end of the week, it's all just like these dudes have known each other forever and hanging out.
Breaking balls.
And
all that
so, yeah. And they're smiling and laughing and then you send them home. I've had, talk to spouses and they're like, even watching his testimonial video at the end of the week, I didn't recognize him because he had just so changed in his demeanor and outlook, and he was smiling and actually enjoying life for the first time in, as long as they can remember. And it's,
That's
the
amazing.
transformation, we tell folks, we're not going to take the weight away from me. We can't take away, the shit you've taken on over the years, but, we can help you unpack that rucksack, lay it out on the floor, and then, maybe repack it so you can carry it a little better and have some folks to help you carry the load if you need it. But, watching those testimonial videos, is the quickest way to make you realize that, there's no bullshit. This is, it really is saving and changing lives. And, to see, a dude, break down crying and telling the other and getting married and having kids, this has been the most significant, week of his life.
Man.
That's all raw, fresh, right at the end of the experience. And, yeah, you can't fake
Mike,
that stuff.
Let me ask you this, man. I mean, your involvement has been amazing. Obviously, as president, you kind of drive the bus on this thing. But going back to what you were just talking about, like the difference in the people, just something that you can share. It doesn't have to be too crazy, but maybe just you've done a lot of trips with these guys. You've met a lot of different personalities, a lot of different people from all over the world. Can you share a story maybe with the listeners, just something maybe that kind of started out a little rough and it kind of just took the turn for the best? And I don't know, just something like that maybe you didn't feel was going to work, but it worked.
Mm-hmm. I've got a story for almost every ride because it's, like I said, a lot of the guys show up thinking they're just going to come ride motorcycles, not talk about shit, whatever. And as they see that relief other folks are getting, about Wednesday night, you finally see the guy that hasn't said anything all week, just again, pulls the plug on that pressure cooker and just lets it all out. And, they'll tell you the next day that, they slept better than they have in 20 years, because, the nightmares went away and whatever. It's, I equate, you turn on the lights in a dark room, the cockroaches run out, and, you see things for what they really are, because, in that dark basement room with the lights off, you stared at the walls thinking, the world hates you and you don't deserve to be here. And, you think about all the folks you lost and, why wasn't it you? And I mean, the stuff you build up in your mind becomes so much more than it really is. Not saying it ain't bad, but I mean, when it's in your head and in the dark, the shadows are scary. And, when you turn on those lights and let it all out, it changes the way you see things and resets you've been trying to, self-medicate and drink your problems away and isolate and push people away because you don't want them to see the monster you are. And when you turn on the lights, you're not a monster. You're just somebody dealing with the shit you've experienced over your career. And yeah, it's just the reality of what you're dealing with and seeing that you're normal and just like everybody else that is dealing with the trauma you are is just such an incredible experience. And so, yeah, talking to those guys, that next day where, they're like, all right, I came to this ride to get my shit together and now I'm going to go home and talk to my wife and, she can be a force multiplier. And now that we're on the same team and I'm not isolating her, I may not tell her the gory details of all the shit I did, but at least now I can talk to her and tell her that, I'm struggling and have been struggling and, I'm sorry for all the shit I put you through, but let's work on this together. Awesome. And so it's repaired so many relationships and, relationships with kids who, don't understand why you can't go to their football game because there's a crowd or, just that communication and telling folks, to be able to communicate that, hey, I'm struggling right now or something's triggered me because they just think you're being an asshole when you get grouchy or moody or, walk away from a situation. But, that simple act of being able to communicate and talk about, why you're feeling the way you do, it changes the family dynamic and relationships. And because, yeah, you think you're protecting them from your shit, but really you're just dragging them down with you. And that realization that it doesn't have to be that way is truly life-changing because, when you get somebody on your side who now you've kind of let them understand the stuff you're dealing with and, they want you to be happy and want you to be happy together, to be able to work on that together is really significant as well.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for answering that.
It's interesting too, the branch, your camp, any kind of training, you're getting pushed to internalize and get over it, whatever it is, and move on.
Yeah.
To the objective. And I think a lot of vets pull that training out and realize it doesn't really work day-to-day life. They're so ingrained in them. It's past and easy to associate the idea of opening up with weakness.
Yeah.
Close friends have realized that they realize it's actually sort of pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point. You rub dirt on it and, drive on and don't take a knee and learn to deal with it. And that's what, we tell folks, there are really a lot of parallels between riding and real life. That's kind of one of the analogies one of our coaches, Keith DeShong, uses is, life's about finding rideable lines, finding the easiest way through obstacles and how, adventure riding and, riding off pavement and, in the sand or, on gravel and rocks and whatnot, you're just trying to pick the best rideable line. And once you get some training and help doing that, it's easier to pick those rideable lines instead of, charging straight into that boulder field and getting knocked on your butt and then not trying it again. So finding those rideable lines and being able to start overcoming obstacles and knowing that there's no shame in taking a knee and, taking a knee and drinking some water and, resetting and taking a break. And that's, you always feel like you have to be charging forward, but sometimes all you need is, the relief that something like this provides, where we get a lot of folks that say, "Oh, I don't deserve it," or, it really becomes, especially with folks who deal with survivor's guilt or, being in a better place than somebody else. You don't think you deserve to be happy or that you deserve good things to come to you. So you punish yourself. But sometimes just, taking a step back and taking time out to help yourself, they'll, when the oxygen mask drops from the airplane, if you don't put yours on first, you can't help anybody else. And there's so many people that spend so much time trying to help their brothers out and giving so much of themselves that they learn, they end up not being able to deal with themselves. So sometimes you need to take a knee and take care of yourself, and the ability to help folks after you do that is huge. So yeah, it's tough, but the rewards are certainly worth it.
Yeah. Looking forward, what legacy do you hope to leave behind through the MRP, and what specific works do you hope to continue?
It's a great question. Being the second generation president of the organization, it was, so when the founder had to step down, dealing with his own stuff and had to take care of his own mental health and dealing with stuff he'd carry around. So after the 7 or 8 years of him starting the program, it's important that I realize that, getting burned out or taking the stuff on myself, could lead me down that path myself. So having a network of folks to be able to vent to or pick me up when I'm feeling burnt out or whatever is important, which is, the core group of folks that help run the organization, either to the board or as volunteers, or Marty, the board chairman, keeping in touch with all those folks to be able to support each other when the organization needs us, is important. As far as the legacy, obviously I want to do all I can to sustain the organization beyond, my tenure. I got no plans on quitting. I love what I'm doing. I love motorcycles. I love the experience and am passionate about, being able to continue it. So, that's why the opportunity to speak on podcasts like this and share with folks, and, you never know who's listening, and, having the opportunity to reach someone who's in a dark place. And this is, that hand reaching down in that dark hole to help pull them out, or, somebody that's in a financial position to, help the organization out going forward. And the legacy is that this program doesn't go away, and it lives beyond me and Marty and everybody else who can do it. So just like in the military, trying to train your replacements, and, we're all replaceable. We're all going to be gone someday. So, the legacy has to be that the organization continues, and I do all I can to put in place the foundation to allow that to continue beyond my time, whenever that is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Keep up the amazing work. Hey, so anything else maybe we didn't talk about that you want to bring up that's going on with the organization at this point in time? Is there things on the horizon? Anything you want to bring up to the audience that they can keep tuned into?
It's good timing. We leave for Tucson in just over a week to start the ride season with our first 2 rides. Sunday we're having a shop day. All the folks who work on the bikes are all volunteers.
Nice.
So we've got a good network of folks that'll show
That's
up.
cool.
We're going to do oil changes and air filters on all the bikes. We're fortunate enough to have Matt Isles here in Denver, who used to be the one of the lead dudes at BMW Denver's shop. So we've got an actual BMW certified master technician dude.
That's
so
wild.
we had to change a couple front shocks last week, which you got to pull the gas tank and do all that. So having a team of folks like that who believe in what we do to show up and
they
do the
this
work
voluntarily, or do you guys have?
He does.
He does. That's unbelievable.
No, he's a
man.
volunteer.
That's
Yeah,
unbelievable. What an
yeah.
awesome dude, man.
Yeah, it's so that, the pool of volunteers we have that support us locally here in Denver to help us keep the fleet maintained and ready to roll. Whether if you're not in Denver, find an organization locally that's doing good things, get involved. The workshop we do on the last day of the ride is helping yourself through helping others, and there's so much science and data behind how volunteering and get involved in something you're passionate about has mental and physical benefits to you. So when you find an organization that you can get involved in, not only does it keep you from isolating, but it keeps your brain engaged, gives you something to look forward to. So I would just encourage anyone out there, whether it's motorcycles or whatever it is, find something you're passionate about and get involved. And one of the most compelling studies, of course, I don't remember who did it, but it's in our workbook. But you only have to volunteer a half hour a week, and that over the course of a year, and it decreases your blood pressure and increases your life expectancy or whatever. Just getting involved and helping others is so beneficial. So we appreciate all the help we get with MRP, but if you're not in a position to help us out specifically, get involved somewhere locally and give back, and it'll help you out and help whatever cause you're passionate about. So that's one of the biggest things you can do wherever you're at, is to just get involved.
Or Mike, that's awesome, man. This has been a heck of a conversation, man. This is awesome to get educated on stuff like this and behind the scenes stuff that you guys do, man. Keep up the amazing work with the boys and the girls that are part of this thing, man, where everybody's rooting for you guys to make this into what you need it to be. We're going to come off the serious part and we're going to go into the speed round questions, man. So buckle
Bring
up.
it on.
Buckle
A
up.
shot of coffee.
All right, man. You ready?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right. First questions. What's the best motorcycle you've ever owned or ridden?
The BMW GS. So I used to be a touring bike guy. I've still got two K1600 big old BMWs. I've had a Gold Wing. I did buy one Harley once. It wasn't for me. God bless people that can tour on those things, but yeah, it wasn't for me. But I gave it a shot. But the GS is built to go on pavement and off pavement. So I ride 25-ish thousand miles a year, and a lot of that off pavement, and having a bike where you can be blasting down the highway and be like, hey, where's that gravel road go? And next thing you know, you're doing over-ish the speed limit on gravel. So yeah, it's if I could only own one bike, that would be it.
That's cool. So what if your motorcycle could talk? What would it say about you?
It would say, so a buddy of mine who I've done a lot of the Iron Butt long distance stuff with, we were in all 50 states together. I picked up a little mantra that I repeat to my bike when I'm having struggles or on some challenging terrain, and I think that it would speak back to me what I say to it all the time, and I just got the knuckle tattoos 2 days ago. Ride motherfucker ride.
They look fresh.
Badass,
wondering.
bro. Ride motherfucker ride. You rock, man. That's badass. I love that.
But when we talk to our sponsors who might not speak French, it's riding motorcycles for relief.
Yeah, nice.
Ah,
All right, good.
There you go. Nice.
You saved it. It's funny.
All right. Next question's best place you've ever ridden and why?
I would have to say a friend of mine runs a tour company, the Good Adventure Company. He does tours in Copper Canyon, Mexico, which is, Sinaloa, heart of cartel country.
Yeah.
So, when you do adventure riding stuff, sometimes just where you ride is the adventure. But I've ridden down there on 3 of his tours. And, it's basically the Mexican Grand Canyon. So you're, riding some pretty good terrain in Mexico, pushing yourself through some stuff where road is a pretty loose description of what it is. But yeah, riding down there where you're in challenging terrain in places most people would never have the courage to go, and hanging out with a bunch of brothers and sisters who love adventure. And unfortunately, my trip last year, 2 years ago, got cut short because the 5 lugs on my rear wheel broke off, and I lost my rear wheel doing 60 miles an hour. And rode 170 feet on my rear brake rotor, and then jumped off in the ditch. So
Holy
that
cow.
was my miracle save. But yeah, I think I'd have to say that's probably the best riding spot.
That's wild. Okay, what's the most embarrassing song on your playlist?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to go with my closet Swiftiness.
I had a
Taylor
feeling.
Swift.
Nice.
Hey, you got a Travis Kelce jersey underneath that shirt or what?
Mhm. All right. If you could time travel to any era, forward or back, what would it be?
One of my hobbies is prospecting for gold. My road name's
Cool.
Yukon, and so I actually have a gold claim here on the Arkansas River in Colorado. So
Sweet.
rolling back to gold rush days, and living the life of a true old school prospector.
Awesome, man.
That's cool. Have you seen that movie Sisu?
Huh?
Ooh, I think it's on Prime, I believe, but
Okay.
it's World War II era prospector. It's basically John Wick style. It's wild. Check it out. You'll dig it.
I guess I know what I'm watching tonight.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you won't regret it.
All right, I'm in.
Perfect time. Speaking of favorite motorcycle movie of all time.
Dumb and Dumber.
Well,
The scooter counts.
Why? Because it was in Colorado.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what does he say? He's like, this puppy gets
funny. Just go, man. Just
60
go.
miles to the gallon or something. Yeah, just go.
Just,
Amazing. Traded it straight up.
that's funny.
Oh,
bro.
man.
That's funny.
All right. Who was your movie crush growing up as a teenager?
Movie crush. That shit. I'm out on that one. I can't really think of anything.
Pass.
I
Fair.
got nothing.
That's all right. We
All right.
Pass.
Okay. If you could meet and have dinner with one person from past or present,
Damn, I'm horrible at this game. Mr. President. I would have to say I couldn't necessarily pick any one person, but some Civil War general who really to be able to talk to about the struggles of in a country divided, fighting for your country, fighting to get your family. It was such a unique time in history that being able to really get a firsthand breakdown on something of that significance in our country.
that would be
awesome,
incredible.
man. That's a great answer, man.
Yeah, great answer. And lots of cool generals to choose. All right. If you could, let's see now, if you were president, what's one law you would change impact the motorcycle community?
Nationwide lane filtering. Everybody
Nice.
loves that one. Yeah,
It's amazing how many
seems
people
common
say
sense
that
to those of
exact
us
same
that
thing.
ride. Yeah, because it's common sense, and the
Yeah.
thing that would be the easiest way to impact the riding community as a whole and the country. I mean, it's even in places it's legal. People, you ride in Europe or even in Mexico. I've ridden a lot in Mexico, and the difference in my say it's not a competition. I'm not taking anything away from you by riding on the shoulder around the accident. Here
Right.
people try and cut you off just because you're gonna get in front of them. One of the most beautiful things in Mexico is like on a 2-lane road with decent shoulders, people actually get off to the sides, and the middle lane is actually a passing lane, so people don't get butt hurt when you're trying to get ahead of them.
Oh, right
They
on.
get out of your way and just give you the middle of the road. And of course, that's a 2-way thing, so you got to kind of watch out for folks taking
Oncoming.
advantage of that going both ways. But just it's not a freaking contest. I'm not taking nothing away from you by riding my bike in front of your car.
Yeah, right. All right, here's a really easy one. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Life's too short. Have fun. Don't take shit so serious.
Okay, it's a fun one. If you could get up on stage and jam with one band, which band would it be?
So, for a lot of years, I worked concert security, and the most fun concerts were like Metallica or somebody like that. So, just up there, I don't have any hair to, my beard
Hey man,
can
look
bob,
how
but,
handsome you are,
just
man.
being up
That's a
there,
handsome man.
being up there jamming with, Metallica and watching
on.
the crowd just undulate in the mosh pit. And
Yeah.
it-
Right on. All right. What's one piece of clothing that you love, but your fiance can't stand?
this hat.
Oh, yeah.
She
That's
hates-
a good one.
This was a brand new black, I've been wearing this hat for 8 years. Yes.
Got
this
some
hat.
miles on it. Nice. All right. If there is a biker themed movie about you, who would play you?
Don't be
Seth
modest.
Rogen. Who's the
Seth
who's
Rogen?
the freaking is that the dude from Hangover, the crazy dude with the beard?
Oh,
What's that guy?
Zach Galifianakis.
Zach, there you, that's it. Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Sorry.
I would watch that movie in a heartbeat. What's the silliest superstition you follow before or after a ride?
I don't know. It's necessarily a superstition. In addition to my, RMFR, and I have a little mantra, like, when I'm riding in sand or shit squirrely, and I'm afraid I'm going to crash. I say out loud, "Mikey like bikey, bikey like Mikey." It's like just a little.
That's
I
cool,
don't want to
man.
crash.
That's
You don't
cool.
want
I
to
like
crash.
that.
Let's do this
Yeah.
shit together.
That's cool. I like that.
You got your next tattoo. All right. Last question. Besides the One Gang Worldwide podcast, obviously, what's your other favorite podcast or podcasts?
I just did one with Phil, who's local here in Colorado, the Moto Beamer stuff. He's had some pretty cool folks on, so I've enjoyed listening to his stuff. So I'll
Cool.
go with that.
All right, cool. All right, buddy.
All
You
right.
passed, man. Made the 2 minutes.
Made it through.
You get to go on the next motorcycle trip. I was gonna take your place.
Only passed on
I was
one.
gonna take your place, but you
That's
missed it
right.
in time. So
14 out of 15. We have a couple more questions for you, though. We never got to touch on what you've got in your garage, and we also wanted to hear about some of those long. You mentioned you've done some.
yeah, for sure.
iron
You got
butt
some
stuff,
long rides, Yep.
Fill us in, man.
So, like I said, if I could have one bike, it'd be the GS, but fortunately I'm not constrained by those limitations. So I've actually got a couple K1600, which is the BMW Goldwing equivalent, and more notably, the 2015 K1600 GT is actually the bike that holds the current world record for the most miles. I did not do it. Carl Reese did it on the Continental Proving Grounds track. Did 2,146 miles in 23 hours because he ran out of tires, so he didn't get to do a full 24 hours. So I actually own that bike. But it's, so I've got, so when I started going out with my fiance, she had a nice little Ducati Monster. Thankfully I waited till I was 55 to discover sport bikes because I'd have probably got in trouble, with that. So I bought a fine, BMW S1000R.
Right on.
Which is a super fun little bike.
Yeah.
And then I've got a Yamaha 426 dirt bike that when I do some straight up dirt stuff. So I think that's all I currently have in my stable. As far as long distance rides, so I like I said, back when I first started riding as an adult, I bought a bike and rode from Washington to Missouri, and I was just hooked on the multi-day road trip. So I'd been a kind of a long distance dude since then. I really got into it in 2002. I bought a 2001 Goldwing and, started out with the standard 1,000 miles in 24 hours and then moved up to 1,500 miles in 24 hours. And then my next big ride, which is where I met my riding buddy, Mike Ledbetter, who lives in Oregon. And like I said, we've ridden in all 50 states together. I met him doing a coast to coast ride from San Diego to Jacksonville and back in under 100 hours.
That's insane.
And from there, we did the border to border to border Insanity, which is Canada to Mexico and back. We did that in 44 hours, which was 2,950 miles of straight riding. And then most recently, I knew Greg Rice, who's a pretty notable long distance rider out of Florida. And 2 years ago, he'd been planning a trip down to Panama, and then COVID shut it down for a couple of years. And so he decided to give him another shot, but his wife told him he couldn't go by himself. So he threw something out on Facebook saying, hey, so you might want to do a little crazy iron butt ride to Panama. And, I like crazy stuff. So we chatted, decided we'd be a good match. So we headed down to Eagle Falls, Texas, and jumped off into Mexico. We did the first Mexico border to border, which is Texas to Guatemala in 23 and a half hours. It was 1,450-ish miles through Mexico. And then we continued on, made it to Panama in 3 days and change.
How was that ride?
So,
how was the ride?
Oh, it was
Awesome.
phenomenal. It's so long distance riding. I was having this discussion with somebody last night and, talking about, riding for 44 hours straight. They're like, that sounds miserable. I'm like, it's not something everybody grasps the concept of. Even, I could jump on a bike and ride for 24 hours straight now. And everybody's like, oh, it's just going down the interstate, whatever. But I just love being in the wind. And, my brain is constantly engaged, especially like when I'm riding with somebody like Mikey or Greg, who were on comms, just chatting and, talking about life. And,
That's cool.
It really is something that you either get or you don't. And, that's why it's a pretty small community of folks that do extreme stuff. But yeah, I would love just bombing down the interstate for 24 hours straight as much as I love, carving up canyons on the sport bike or, out on gravel on the GS. I just love being in the wind and it's about the ride, not the destination or, what you're doing. It's just being in the wind.
What about your 49 states one you mentioned?
So the Iron Butt Association has a 49 state in under 10 days ride. So as hard as that is to grasp the concept of, everybody's like, how can you hit all the states? But it really is a fairly circuitous route without a lot of out and back stuff. But and then of course up to the trick is Hyder, Alaska is pretty much Canada. They use Canadian money. There's no border crossing going back into Alaska. So it's pretty far down the strip of land that goes into British Columbia. So it's kind of like cheating Alaska, but it's still Alaska. Right. So that's how you bag the 49th
counts. Right on.
But so you can do it in just under 7,000 miles, but we added the miles and stopping in Mexico because why not? To do 10,000 miles in 10 days. So it was 10,300 miles in 9.5 days.
That's crazy.
And then when you were riding in Mexico, everybody's wondering, those long distance rides, I guess if you're on the bike constantly, that probably helps. But have you had any hairy moments with any of the cartel issues or had any just weird, close calls?
I think what he's asking you is, do you pack for your rides?
Oh, hell no, not in Mexico. I don't need to be in a Mexican jail.
Right.
For the most part, obviously you hear in the media and all that, Mexico's, crazy. And so there's two incidents
checkpoints
really
and stuff
in Mexico. The cartel dudes ain't gonna mess with you if you don't mess with them.
Okay.
It helps to have somebody that knows, has connections down there and they put the word out. But the vast majority of Mexico the people are friendly and the riding's great and it's a challenge. But if you mind your own business, pretty good chance people are gonna leave you alone. Two situations on the border to border ride. Hell, I can tell all kinds of stories now. Think about it. Like we were about to cross into Nicaragua and it was like midnight. And we were going down, we were like 10 miles from the border and this car with like a whole bunch of lights came by us in the opposite direction, saw it as we passed, but he turned around and started following us. And, we're in southern Guatemala, almost in Nicaragua at 2 a.m, nobody around. And, I just told Greg on the headset, haul ass, get to the border. Cause, we don't know what that dude was up to or why he decided he wanted to follow us. So we just hammered it and got to the border. We've lost him. Luckily it was some good twisty roads and we were able to lose him there. So that was one of the odder incidents.
Wow.
But for the most part, there's no issues, down there as long as you keep your head on swivel and act like you got some sense.
So you're not running into checkpoints and crap like that you see
in Copper Canyon. it's crazy. You never know. So you're out on a gravel road, haven't seen a car all day, middle of nowhere. And you'll occasionally come up on two dudes standing in the middle of the road, AK-47s, just want to know what you're doing in their neighborhood, and just tell them, hey, you're out riding, whatever. But one of the funniest stories, we stopped. Somebody had to take a leak, so we stopped the side of the road, and the dude was standing there watering a thing, and like this dude just popped up out of the bushes, like right there. So it's like there are really people everywhere, and they're watching what you're doing. That was just a trip that we randomly stopped where there shouldn't have been anyone, and there was a dude right there where we stopped.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing these stories. Awesome, brother.
I can talk motorcycles all day.
Man. Listen, if you got the time, we got the time. So, we can always. Hey, listen, would it be cool maybe to have you back towards the end of the year after you guys get a couple of runs in, a couple of trips, and kind of catch up and see how everything's
for sure.
going?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always down to chat.
Awesome.
Nice. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for
guys.
the time.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks to your listeners. If they're still hanging on, then engaged in listening, spread the word about the program. If you're a veteran or a first responder who struggles with shit, put in the application, and hopefully we can get you on a ride. If you can afford to donate, cool. If not, spread the word and let folks know we're out here.
Man.
Right on. We'll have all that stuff linked up in our description. Yep. So yeah, it'll be easy to find. We appreciate you, Mike, man. I hope you have a great day, and we're looking forward to catching up with you.
Have a safe first trip in a couple of weeks, brother. Have fun.
Roger that.
All right, and be safe.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Take care.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Mike. Have a good one.
Yep.